All right,
So-
I'm
But
gonna
I was thinking,
call
why would you come here?
the meeting to order tonight
Yeah.
at meeting of the Windsor Southeast Supervisory Union Board, April 22nd at 6:31. So I'm gonna call us to order, and we're gonna start with the reorganization of the board. And we're gonna start with the election of the chairperson. So I am going to accept nominations for chairperson for the
I will-
WSESU board. Nikki?
I'll nominate Bill Yates.
Bill, second. Bill, do you accept?
I do.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we will cast a vote. We'll do roll call, I guess, because we have some online. Start with online. Megan?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Davis? Oh, you're here, Davis. Sorry, you're in both places. Amy?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Anne Marie?
Aye.
Nancy?
Aye.
I'm damn Nancy. I was called Nikki?
Oh, aye.
Hannah?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
And Davis.
Aye.
Did I miss anybody online? I don't know if that's Vince on Carrie Jewel.
He's
but
not
he's
a member of the board.
of the board. Okay, so that's not. Okay, so Bill, I'm turning the meeting over to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
It's not that easy, is it, remembering?
I know you gotta remember all the
I know.
all the
Confuse
things.
everyone by being
Yeah.
multiple places.
I swings, yeah. Okay, I will take nominations for the election of the vice chair.
Who is the current vice chair? I don't know. Who is the current?
I think it was.
It was Colleen.
Colleen, that's
Colleen.
right.
Oh.
Nikki, would you like to be?
No.
Okay.
I have a new job that I am like beyond swamped with.
I don't see Elizabeth here, so we can always get her to do it.
What about Amy?
Kind of mean to me.
Nope.
Amy is shaking
She's
her
saying
head
no.
and
She said
Amy's
no.
saying no.
Is Megan here?
Megan is here.
Yes, Megan is here.
I would nominate Megan Reed.
I'll second that.
How does Megan?
I have to ask her if she accepts. I'll accept.
Oh, that's
Okay.
awesome.
Nice.
Thank you, Megan.
It's a good learning experience.
All of the learning experience.
Okay, vote. We'll do, Amy, how do you vote? Mark?
Aye.
Okay, who else went to, is anyone new on?
Sarah is the new
Sarah,
Weathersfield
yeah.
representative.
Sarah, how do you vote?
Aye.
Okay. Nikki,
Aye.
Hannah,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye. I think Megan didn't vote.
Megan.
Aye.
And Elizabeth's on now.
Are we
Elizabeth.
voting on minutes?
We are voting on vice chair, and I nominated Megan.
Oh. Aye.
Okay, and I am an aye as well. Thank you. Now we're getting to the sort of let's remember what's going on part. The clerk of the board. Now, from my memory, this is the individual who takes notes if they need to.
Signs
And
papers.
is third in line.
Third in line.
I will take nominations for clerk of the board. Who is clerk of the board?
Nancy,
Were
was
you
it
the
you?
clerk?
Well, I'm the clerk for Mount Scotney.
Oh, from Mount Scotney.
Davis, were you clerk?
I was the previous clerk for Mount Scotty. I don't think I
Who
was.
was
for-
clerk?
I mean, I would be again if you guys want me to. So.
I nominate Davis.
That sounds like a.
I'll second it.
It's close to a nomination.
Okay.
Moving right along.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, I will ask for a vote. Sarah?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Elizabeth,
I.
Nikki,
Aye.
Hannah,
Aye.
Nancy. I'm an aye, and Davis?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Unanimous.
Election of treasurer. Now,
Yeah.
this is Nancy.
Well,
No.
I was Mascotney.
Okay, is this the person who signs the checks, or is
No,
that?
No,
No, I'm,
someone in the office signs checks.
yeah. As treasurer, I'm on the bank account, and when we switch banks, or when we do anything.
Yes,
with
that's what I
That's
am,
right, okay.
Mascotney.
I had to show up with a driver's license.
What bank do they use?
Let's go.
That's my one.
It's very convenient.
I-
Right upstairs.
Because it
Feel weird
requires
if you didn't.
paperwork, I'm happy to stay in that role,
Okay,
because it's also fairly minimal.
I'm an MNT and 802.
I'll nominate Nikki for treasurer.
Second,
okay. Are there any other nominations for treasurer? Hearing none. Go around the room again. Sarah?
Aye.
Did you say my name? It cut out when I,
It did, I did.
okay. Aye, sorry.
Mark?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
I.
Ann?
Aye.
Nikki?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Nancy? I'm an aye. And Davis?
Aye.
Okay, right, efficient. Assistant treasurer. And so there's two people on the manifest.
who was assistant?
I didn't know. Should we dig that?
You want me to go look? I think it's up in the
That's
Lori's
sort of
office.
strange.
Lori's office?
Yeah, I think she's got it on her wall, just the
Oh.
list of who's what.
Oh, that's probably faster than me.
Because it does involve.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah, you,
sign a lot of paperwork and give them all your information.
You sign your life away. I state your name. I state your name.
let's see if we can get Larry.
I didn't know we had one. You know, it might have been Rebecca.
I think it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
could be.
Yes.
Oh, I'm
She
gonna be
was
them.
downtown.
Yes.
Oh, no,
What?
it's you.
I was gonna say that, but I figured I was wrong twice. And three times I'd be out. I am.
I have no idea that I was assistant treasurer, but I
Not-
accept.
Not a big deal.
Okay.
It's Nancy.
I nominate
Oh, Amy's
Nancy.
doing it.
I'll volunteer.
Oh, Amy.
Amy, you
Amy will
volunteer?
volunteer.
Okay.
Awesome. I'll
I-
nominate Amy.
I didn't do anything.
Do I have a second for Amy?
Second.
Okay. So electing Amy for assistant to the treasurer. We'll go with Sarah,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Amy. Elizabeth,
I.
Ann,
Aye.
Nikki,
Aye.
Anna,
I,
Nancy, myself and an aye. Davis?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Getting around to, okay. Next, we have signer of the manifest.
Oh.
And there's supposed to be two of them.
weren't you that at some point?
Last,
Yes.
I have it all up now.
Yeah.
Last year it was Bill and
Right.
Nancy.
Oh, okay.
I nominate Nancy.
I'll second.
Do you want to do that again?
Yeah, I'll do that again. So
Okay.
someone-
I'll nominate Bill and Nancy.
That we could do,
Okay.
perfect.
We have a
Same as last
second
year.
for that?
Second.
Okay, so,
Wait, I think you nominated Bill and Nancy.
okay, so we're having a double vote here, because there's two members. We're voting for me, myself, and Nancy, to be, signers of the manifest. Get those wonderful emails from,
From Gail.
from Gail. My rhetorical.
What is the manifest?
You just come and sign off on it.
Yeah, I just have to
Sign off
sign
on all
up,
the purchases.
look at it,
So
and
that's like
ask
what the
Gail
clerk
questions.
does. for our-
Sarah, how do you vote?
Aye.
Yes.
And Megan,
I.
Mark,
Aye.
Amy, Elizabeth,
Aye.
and
Aye.
you've got a baby. You're gonna try to confuse me. I'm dyslexic. You can't do this to me. Nikki,
Aye.
Anna,
Aye.
Nancy, I'm an aye. Davis.
Aye.
It's going here. Election on budget committee members. Now, this involves a little more thought.
Yeah.
Because it involves time and, work.
So last year it was Rebecca, Jamie, and Colleen.
Yes.
Everyone, Jamie and
They're all gone.
Colleen.
Does it need to be
Everyone's
one
gone.
per board?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. I do.
that's rough, I'm sorry.
And this is the SU budget?
Yes.
board? Okay.
Do you
Yeah.
want to outline it, what it looks like there before people?
Yeah, so historically what we've done is, around September, we meet usually on Friday mornings. It's usually virtual. And, the first meeting, we just talk about the SU budget, I take some direction from the board, from the budget committee, and then I go use the spreadsheets, and then every week I update you with where we are, the health insurance numbers we get back, any contract stuff that has happened and since. And then I meet with the department heads, and as I meet with the department heads, I go back to you and present you every Friday. I think it's every Friday, essentially. I think for a while, it's every other Friday, and as we get closer to the meeting, it's every Friday. Because remember, it's a superintendent, right? But as a lot of, unlike schools where there's a principal, SU doesn't have a principal, it has a superintendent. So that's what we do, and it's been working well. We've done it for the last 3-4 years. And then I kind of create the presentation for the board with your input.
So do we need to go back to our boards and figure out who, or just
I
among
think
the
it's
three?
usually, it's a member of the SU board.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, should we ask our individual boards who they
It's not-
want, or
Yeah,
doesn't?
that's up to you.
It's not required necessarily, but I think it's a good practice to have one member from each of the district. Elizabeth?
Thanks, Bill. I've got a question for Larry.
Mhm.
Larry, when is it usually done? In February or January?
It's usually done, November, December.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd be glad to do it for our district. I won't be doing the legislature at that point, so I'm glad to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I would volunteer for Weathersfield also.
Okay.
Anybody for Hart?
Can you say more what you mean by Friday morning, like early morning?
Well,
or
it's whatever's convenient for you.
hours?
So like,
It's like 8 o'clock.
I think it was mostly around Jamie because Colleen could come and go. It was usually 8:30, 8:39. And it's usually an hour and a half, and you'll get all the information ahead of the meeting. Like, we won't use a meeting to go over the spreadsheet. You'll already have had it, and then we go over any questions.
But the time is flexible, Hannah. We can
The
work
time's
around your
flexible.
schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thursdays are kind of shot for me personally, but other than Thursdays,
Okay.
it could be, is there a better day that works?
For all of Heartland's board, daytimes are tough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might be tough for me too. I don't know yet. But,
Yeah.
if you had enough notice, would that help?
I'm currently looking for a job, so I don't know what.
So right now you're flexible.
Right now I'm flexible, but who knows where it'll be like in
So-
September. But
One thing to remember, if we elect 3 individuals tonight, which I would like, those individuals are always free to resign from the budget committee and then put someone else forward.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay? This is not fixed in stone. And as our lives change, as we have a baby here, I've dealt with 5 of them, things are fluid, but I believe we have a nomination for Well, we have three individuals. I'd like to hear a nomination for
Two.
Elizabeth
Yeah.
and
We didn't figure out Heartland yet.
Yeah,
did
we
we?
didn't.
Did you-
I
I
was
just-
just-
I
I
was
was
just-
just-
Yeah, maybe can Beth and I just talk about it
Sure.
a little bit?
Is it
We
something-
Table
I know
this one.
she's a little bit
Okay.
in flux, but.
we will move
Because we
on.
don't need to do the SU budget yet.
We can
No.
do that.
No.
But Heartland will send somebody.
Yeah.
Yes.
I start working in August. I think it's usually it's after Labor Day is the first meeting, almost always, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
Okay,
So you got plenty of time.
okay.
so,
Daytimes are just.
we will
Well, it could be afternoons, but Friday afternoons stink, right?
table this.
But I could do that.
With the understanding is that we have a nominee for Ascutney School Board and a nominee for Weathersfield. And so we will take this up from that point. Designation of official newspapers. We made some changes at the Ascutney Board. I think we dumped the Standard.
Yeah.
And are there any, I think we are using the Eagle, the SU board uses the Eagle Times,
And the values,
Valley
Valley
News.
News.
Yeah.
And last year you did Vermont Standard.
Right.
And when, Mount Scotty is VT Digger as well,
this year.
this
Right.
year, yeah.
Yes. And so I think those three are a good direction. One of the complaints about the standards that the Ascutney board all agreed upon was their accuracy of reporting on our events. And plus, they're really outside of our district's readership, so was a lot of point to it.
Yeah.
So I will take a nomination I will take a motion to choose the VT Digger, the Valley News, and the Eagle Times.
Is there any discussion about the Standard? Does
Yeah.
anybody else want the Standard?
Heartland really is in the standards zone.
They are?
Yeah,
Okay.
like a lot of people get it delivered to their houses.
Okay.
I mean, we're right next door.
Do we second?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Do you find them
Okay.
to be accurate?
Yeah.
They
I
were
guess that-
accurate for my stuff, but.
Well, they ignore the Ascutney.
Oh,
This Windsor.
Gotcha.
That's why. So
And when they don't ignore it, they get it wrong.
they get it wrong.
They've done better this year, but it got pretty egregious last year. And just as far as like, not even angled, like basic, like people's names, dates, the things, it was like very sloppy.
oh, that's bizarre.
Yeah, it was weird.
I want to remind those of us from the Mount Ascutney district that they actually, when we merged our two districts into one, they actually reported the opposite of what happened.
Yeah, that's right.
And they did
Yeah,
not print a
Weathersfield.
correction.
Yeah, Weathersfield and Heartland had merged.
Oh, wow.
It was really, really
Oh.
interesting.
So there you go.
I was excited for you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't even know.
Well, I have no problem with the Valley News, the Eagle Times, and the Standard.
And Digger.
The VT Digger sort of echoes what the Valley News does, because I think they have a lot of the same reporters. And they sell each other's the articles.
This has to do with carrying notices though, right?
Yes.
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 So,
It's a little different. Okay. I will take a motion to that, and then we can have some more discussion on it. Does anyone,
I'll move
okay,
to the 4 official newspapers that were just designated.
the 4?
Well, the Standard, Valley News, Eagle Times, and did we want to add VT Digger?
No, I don't, yeah. I
Oh, okay,
think 3
then
is
the 3.
enough, and that
Okay.
covers
Standard, Valley News, and Eagle Times.
Yeah. The Valley News really covers the Ascutney, Eagle Times. I think there's a lot of readership in Weathersfield. And
The Standard.
unbeknownst to me, the Standard was a Heartland-based newspaper. So I
It's
think
not
that's a
hard-
nice
it's not
balance.
based on-
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion on this? I will take a vote. Sarah,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amy, Elizabeth,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Nikki,
Aye.
Hannah,
Aye.
Aye.
Nancy, I'm an aye. Davis?
Aye.
Okay. I kind of get stuck on Hannah because that's the name of just one of my favorite, most interesting students that I ever had. So,
Most interesting can kind of go either way, but.
Yeah.
But he did say favorite.
Establishment of meeting day, time, and place. I don't believe we vote on this, but do we?
I think you do.
Okay.
And remember, Mount Scotty changed their meeting date, just a
Right.
reminder.
So the discussion around a Scutney changing the meeting date was, I think, one concern to have 2 in a row, or is that still a concern?
So if you don't move yours, yes, you'll have 2 in a row. So Mount Scotty's now the first or the second, let me look.
First Monday.
First Monday,
Yep.
and you are the 4th, so
Every once in a while we have.
Every once in a while.
And we're the first Tuesday. That's a lot.
it's all good.
We're the second Tuesday.
Yeah. So
Does anyone have any preference? Because I really don't. It's a meeting.
It's worked out so
Yeah,
far for
fourth
me.
works fine for me.
Okay.
which one?
As it is. now,
Fourth
fourth.
Monday.
What is that?
I make a motion to hold hybrid meetings on the fourth Monday of each month at 6:30 at the SU office.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Is everyone online clear on what we're voting for? Okay. Sarah,
Aye.
Megan,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Amy, Elizabeth,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Nikki,
Aye.
Hannah,
Aye.
Nancy.
Unhappily, aye.
Yeah.
I don't like those two meetings together, but
Yeah.
if
I
we
am an
didn't do
aye.
it,
It will be-
it would
Davis?
happen
Aye.
to you or somebody else.
It will be rare, I think, because there's usually a 5th Monday, isn't it?
Yes. It's fifth Monday, so usually gonna be 2 weeks apart, so. Robert rules for small board,
You just cross that off. 'cause
and
you're
we're not a small board, so.
Does Robert,
12, under 12.
so it's the board, not the number of people in the room?
Yeah, it's the actual board.
Yeah, Davis had a really handy little tool that we looked at.
Handy dandy.
Anybody else got one of these?
Yeah, I got one.
Yes, I love this.
I gotta start carrying it around.
All the things I forget all the time.
So we can scratch that. We do have some changes to the agenda. I think 2 items had to come in, and it will be under items for discussion. It is a new payroll tax we need to at least start to discuss, because next month we'll have to make a decision. And we have some another item for discussion. We have a request for a leave. Okay, so those are the 2 additions. Public participation. Public comment is not legally required, but we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns over issues. Through these meetings, our board models for our students how to conduct public discourse, and that the board and members of our community can approach controversial issues in a civil and constructive manner and can demonstrate mutual respect. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed for discussion. Please start by identifying yourself and what town you reside in, and keep your comments to 3 minutes or more.
Or less. Maybe 3 minutes or less.
Less, that's 3 minutes or less.
At least 3 minutes you must speak.
You have 3 minutes to speak.
Yeah, 3 paragraphs.
Okay,
Doesn't look like we have any.
It's your
any
resident.
public comment?
There's nobody
They
in here.
have-
Somebody popped in now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did skip the approval of the minutes, just, you know.
Oh, right.
Elizabeth's got her hand up. She's probably
Elizabeth?
reminding you the same thing.
I just want to tell everybody that tomorrow is the day that the Senate Education Committee is hearing
yeah.
from Zoe Saunders. So if you haven't already, and you are of the mind, write to your senators and tell them your feelings about it. In our county, the senators are Dick McCormick, Allison Clarkson, and Becca White. Thanks.
Yes, and I do recognize I skipped over the minutes, sort of jumped that gun. But we will finish public comments. Are there any other announcements or public comments?
Weathersfield's Beauty and the Beast is this Friday and Saturday. Friday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 2 p.m.
Outstanding.
Also, Christine, or I guess Christine, do you want to talk about the award that Hudson is getting?
Yes, but let me pull it up so that I can talk about it coherently. That's the ad you sent me.
He's nominated for it.
Yeah, he's nominated for. Do you want to speak to it, Davis?
Yeah, I don't have the copy in front of me, but Hudson is nominated for a Dartmouth Health Community Impact Social Justice Award. And he's nominated in the youth category. So yeah, there's some more, I think, Christine, if you have the copy for it up there.
Is it one of those things where we vote for him, or we don't have anything to say?
No, there's a selection committee within Dartmouth Health's affinity kind of group set up. It's the BIPOC affinity group puts it on, but it's folks who engage in community outreach and have made an impact with the work that they've done. So Hudson was one of three people, I believe it's either under 21 or under 25, who have made an impact in the Upper Valley and got nominated this year. So
Awesome.
It's very exciting.
Do you want to remind folks who Hudson is? Because if they're new watching, they might not know.
That is very true. Yeah, Hudson Ranney is, and it's hard to know where to start with Hudson. He is a very active student from Windsor High School. I believe, is he a junior this year?
He is.
Yep. He's currently down to being a Senate page, which, tells you kind
Big
of
deal.
U.S. Senate.
U.S. Senate page. Yeah, he's down in Washington, D.C. right now, but he has been a member of Rotary. He's volunteered with Windsor on Air. I mean, and that he's done all sorts of student advocacy within the school. He was our student member of the Mount Scottney School Board.
It made a real impact.
No, he did.
Real impact. His ideas were just amazing.
Yeah, he participated and contributed on the level of any of us elected board members. I mean, he really took it seriously and applied himself. And that really, I mean, it hardly does justice to the amount of care and time and work that he's put in as a young person in our community. So I was incredibly happy to see his name on that roster.
He's also a co-chair of the Vermont Student Anti-Racism Network.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I probably missed like 10 things that Hudson.
No, I was trying to get the acronym right in my head.
Yeah.
Elizabeth knew it.
And he's currently logged into our draft minutes.
There we go. Yeah. So the event itself.
I found the flyer.
You found the flyer. Do you want to?
It is Saturday, April 27th, from 6 to 9 at the Cornerstone Community Center, which is in Hartford, Vermont. It's a family-friendly event. There's a ticket cost, $10 for an equity ticket, $25 for a standard ticket, $35 for a sponsor ticket, and $10 for children 5 to 12. Children under 5 are free. And it is the second annual Community Impact Social Justice Award.
Yep.
Got it all sponsored by Dartmouth Health, Black, Indigenous, and People of Color Employee Resource Group. So,
hey, Christine, I think you sent out the information in one of your newsletters about the link to buy the tickets and all that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I sent it to Colleen and Kate too to put it in Sergio. Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for reminding us. It's
Yeah,
pretty
thank
exciting.
Any other announcements or public comments? We'll move on. Thank you. Approval of minutes for March 25th, 2024.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? No. Nothing past another clear and concise summary of it. Okay, I will take the vote. Sarah? We're approving the minutes?
Should I abstain since I wasn't there?
Yes.
Abstain.
Megan?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay. Elizabeth?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Nikki?
Aye.
Abstain.
Nancy? I am an aye.
Aye.
Okay. That passes, and I apologize for skipping ahead. Administrative report.
Got it. I didn't know if you wanted to do introductions before we get started, the new board,
A what?
introductions of the new people that
Oh,
are here.
goodness.
Might be
It's so
nice.
social. Yeah, let's do that.
Well,
Well, it is the administrative, so yes.
Yes, Bill, you start. Introduce yourself.
Okay, I am Bill Yates. I think that speaks for itself. I am the board chair here, and I am also on the Mount Escutney School District and was on the Albert Bridge, the West Windsor School Board beforehand. Happy to be here. See all these wonderful new faces. Nancy?
I am Nancy Pedrick, and I was on the Mount Escutney. I'm on the Mount Escutney board, and I was on the Albert Bridge board before also.
I am Hannah Ben Simone, and I am new to the Heartland board as of this past year. I grew up in Heartland. I went to Heartland Nursery School with Molly McGraw, and then went through the Heartland School
Oh.
District and moved back to Heartland 2 years ago, and was excited for the chance to be connected. I've got a first grader at the elementary school and a 4-year-old in the preschool, and then this person who you've come to know so well.
3.0.
Until he's more disruptive.
Number 3, you're outnumbered now. Welcome.
Thank you.
I am Nikki Buck. I'm chair of the Heartland board. I've been on the board for I think like 9 years. So I may be one of the longest serving on this board, if not the longest serving.
I think
Oh, no, I think you
Elizabeth,
beat me.
and Elizabeth beats me by a year.
I think Elizabeth,
So
she
she's,
became after me.
she came after you?
Yeah.
Then it's
Oh,
you.
wait, what about Amy?
Amy was
Oh,
Amy beat,
Yes.
Amy beat all of us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ann?
I'm Anne Marie Redmond. I'm the chair of the Weathersfield School Board. And I think this is like my 5th or 6th year on the board, both boards. Been on the SU board as long as I've been on the Weathersfield board. So.
Davis?
All right. I'm Davis McGraw. I am the chair of the Mount Escutney School Board. I've been on the board since, I was appointed, I think, July of 21, and then I was elected in 22. So yeah, this is my kind of 3rd-ish year. Yeah. I'm a Windsor member.
We count our luck for the last 3 years. Elizabeth?
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Burrows. This is my 12th year on the board.
Oh, you are ahead of me.
Then I'm
Oh, so it's
11
the
years,
SU.
and Amy's.
And
Okay, never mind.
uh,
I like to have these carrots.
I live in West Windsor. I also represent 3 of the 4 towns in our supervisory union at the State House. And I also, but more importantly than that, am a parent to 2 kids, one in the Windsor High School and one at Albert Bridge School.
Amy?
Hi, I am Amy McMullen. I was first on the board starting in 2008 until a year's departure beginning in 2023, I think from March 23, until I was a write-in candidate for the Amanda Scutney School Board this last year, this last town meeting. So yeah, I've been on the board for a while, except for 1 year. I had a respite.
A well-earned one.
Yes.
Well-earned one. Megan,
Hello, I am Megan Reed. I was appointed last year to the board and then was elected this year. So it's going on my second year. Thank you. I'm a Windsor resident of the Mount Escutney board. Yes.
have we lost Mark?
No, I think you can't see him because my
Okay.
screen is up, but.
Mark?
And Sarah's the other.
Sarah.
I know.
Okay.
Megan has children at the school,
Yes.
as do I.
Sarah?
Hello, I'm Sarah Steele and I serve on the Weathersfield School Board. I also have a first grader at the Weathersfield School, and my husband was born and raised in Weathersfield all his life. So, hello.
Welcome, Sarah. And Mark, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Mark
Yes.
Youngling, Vice Chair of the Weathersfield Board. Sure, how many years this is now. But the youngest is graduating Woodstock this year. So, oh, it's good to be back. Thank you.
Did I skip Mark in one of our roundabouts? I think I might have. Maybe
No,
not.
I don't
I don't
think
think you did.
Okay.
so. He was up there before
Yeah,
before
Yeah,
before
before
the
the
screen
report
came up.
Okay.
He saw them all.
All right.
Christine's just messing with me.
Sorry. No, I thought it'd be nice for people to at least know where people are from. So I will thank you for doing
No, I'm
that.
talking about the screen.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the small things that mess with me, not the big
I'm
things.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
All right. Well, I am reporting tonight with Angie, so she'll take over about halfway through. But again, I was just sorting through the procedures. I'm almost done with procedure for every policy that requires a procedure, which is a big feat because we didn't have very many at the beginning of the year. So it was a task that I wanted to take on. So the procedure for access and visitor management is pretty much the policy. It's pretty restrictive and we're following it. So that's there for your perusal. And the one about complaints we actually worked on earlier, but I'm just going down my list in order. So that one we've talked about before. Elizabeth has her hand up. Do you want to, Bill, is that okay? Elizabeth has her hand up.
Oh, yeah. Elizabeth.
Thanks. Thanks, Christine. Thank you for doing all of these. I wondered how the procedures for the transgender policy are going.
So I did reach out to Renee as on your recommendation that he has a good implementation plan for procedures. And we've been trying to connect, but he's off this week and I was off. So we haven't connected yet, but I want his guidance before we really tackle it. That makes sense. And if you had one, Elizabeth, I thought you had one that you thought was pretty good. If you do, as a model, that would be great. If not, that's okay. We'll figure it out.
I don't have one, but I think Renee has one or has been working on developing one.
Okay. So I will connect with him. We've been played phone tag a little bit and then he's on break this week. So.
But I do think that it should be done by a group of people that includes students. Just saying.
Yep.
Thank you.
Oh, I totally agree. And we did that with the policy, a recent policy, which was, it's good insight to hear from the kids. Policies impact them. So, okay.
It's really interesting, the perspective they bring.
Yeah. Things you don't think about, honestly. Okay, I'm bringing you the results of the question of the month for April. which was about student-led conferences. So we had a pretty good turnout. 71 people responded to the survey. So that just shows you the breakdown of where those results came from. The next is the grade level through 8th grade. So it's pretty mixed. We had a very good turnout for conferences at each of the schools. So this is hard to read, I apologize. You have the presentation linked on the agenda, but the questions were, student-led conferences help me understand my child's perception of their strengths and challenges as a learner. And the green is agree, the purple is strongly agree. So we like to see the bigger bars there. The second question was leadership portfolios and student-led conferences help my child take ownership of their learning. So again, some pretty good agreement on that. We know it's the first year and we've got work to do, so it was good to see that there was some positive response. And third, as a parent, I felt supported to participate in the process. I've kind of summarized the comments. They were, I think, overwhelmingly pretty positive. There were some that weren't so positive, but people really appreciated them. I think there were a lot of people that said, these were great. I'm glad my child is taking a role in their learning. But it would be nice to have some time without my child at the conference as well. So we're gonna have to figure out what that looks like. There were also, some people that thought it wasn't effective for elementary age kids, and we are working through that. We had some innovative K-1 teachers who did it in different ways. I think a couple first grade classes did it was almost like an open house. So all the kids came in, all the parents and kids came in together and looked at their, talked about their leadership portfolios in one evening. And then the teachers did traditional parent-teacher conferences in addition. So we're trying to figure out what works best for folks. So those were some of the comments. There's some more, which pretty much most people really felt there should be a two-part thing. So we will keep you updated on what that looks like. We did get one at the bottom there. Execution was lacking, so we know we've got some work to do, making sure our kids are prepared. So
I can, as I went through
you
my
went to
second
one,
grade,
yeah.
I can see how some parents would struggle with the patience of a first, second, third grader trying to present things. They don't have the skill. But I have to admit that I think it was definitely worth my process.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
And the hope is they develop those skills over time. So gotta start somewhere. Yeah.
If they don't do it,
right.
How did they learn?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So one of the things that came up recently is that there are kids in our school system who don't have parents that come.
Yeah.
And can those kids nominate somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I just read an email, I think it was from Colleen at Windsor, and they had a very good turnout, but there were a few kids, so she was looking for adults that would be able to sit with that student, so they would have an opportunity as well. We did struggle a little bit with remote because we do offer remote, and so figuring out how to, I think we ended up, the remote ones, we didn't require it this year because we hadn't come across that challenge yet. So we need to figure out what that would look like, because honestly, parents do appreciate remote options as well. So we were pretty pleased. I'm going to let Angie talk for a minute about the proposed question of the month for May. She's got some information that she thinks would be important to gather for the CIP process.
Last month when I was here, I talked about the continuous improvement plan and planning process rather that is going to be conducted in May. And so the May question of the month helps, perhaps gives us some data on the priority areas that any community member that takes the time to complete this would be telling us. So this basically describes the CIP process, and then the areas are academic proficiency. I'm not going to remember them all, and I don't have it right up here.
Safe and healthy schools,
yes, I do. Academic proficiency, personalization, high quality staffing, safe, healthy schools, and financial efficiencies. And while we could write a strategy for each of those areas, it's probably, confining it, our current continuous improvement plan has a goal in safe, healthy schools and a goal in academic proficiency. Those are two areas that the state requires. So I've asked folks to order these in order of their priority, what would be the most important to the least important, to make sure that we're addressing in the continuous improvement plan, which will be aligned with the strategic plan, but it's a little more focused than the strategic plan.
So we'll bring you back the results unless there's something else you want us to ask about next month. It's been a great information gathering tool. I really like it. We get some good information. Okay, Larry, you want to take it from here? You want to talk about the audit?
Yeah, just pretty simple. No findings, no material or significant deficiencies. So I want to give a shout out to Ed Connors, our CFO, and Deanna Kroll for the work they do. It's a lot of work preparing for the audit for 4 separate entities. It's not just the SU, it's every school and federal grants, and it's a lot of work. And Deanna does a lot of work behind the scenes that nobody sees, months of work to do this audit, depending on what comes up. So one of the things that's, again, not a finding, but we'll talk about, it's one of the reasons why the policy was on here, but it came up in the food service state audit, was a suggestion that we change our procurement policy to match state law, which is $40,000 for bids. Right now it's $10,000, so it could be less, but to match state law, they suggest moving it to $40,000. And the policy, that's the only material change in the policy that's on the agenda item tonight.
There were no other number changes in that one? Bill and I were chatting about that.
I used was it 150 was a previous, and that's it to go down to public bid.
To 200 now in the
Just,
policy.
yes, that went
To
from 150 to 200
Yeah.
to 10,000 to 40.
Okay. All right.
So the public bid, okay? And you get multiple quotes.
Right.
Proposals would be 40,000, and that's an aggregate number. That's not item. That's not per item. And that's just another. We're considered a low risk audit, not ODDITY. And then this is it was already in the board portal. It's hard to see on the screen, but it's the third quarter financials. Nothing surprising. And
There you go. Keep
that's
going.
where we are, yeah. As usual, we will know more as the revenues numbers come in.
So we're still expecting revenues to come in. That's why
Yes.
that's lower. And that question was asked at Mount Scottney. It's the Ed Fund. Remember asking that? Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's childcare. We can talk about that after. There are no questions. Angie's going to take over. Elizabeth has a question. I'll go back to questions.
Elizabeth?
Of course I do. My question is, last month, you said, Christine, that you were going to share with us the results of that survey that was sent out.
Yeah, I talked to Mike Nicholson, who is putting on the survey. Mike Nicholson, for those of you who don't know, was our consultant who helped us with our core competencies and our strategic plan. He's been working with us around student agency. So Elizabeth, it's not closed yet. So I will bring them as soon as it's closed. He's leaving it open. We're hoping to get some more student participation. There were a number of students that started the survey, but they haven't completed it yet. So it is on my list, but it's just not ready yet.
Okay, thank you.
Does he send out some sort of email reminder to them to finish the survey?
Yeah,
or-
I asked the principals to ask the teachers to make sure they had time in advisory. It's grade 6 through 12, so, and staff as well, so, yeah. Okay, Larry, I mean, not Larry, Angie. Sorry,
Larry could try
Sorry,
it, but I
Larry.
don't know if he knows. Yeah, the slide is on you'll have to
I have to
double click to
Okay,
get the
so
text
let
to come up in the
Let me
pink
just
box.
see. Okay, there you go.
So I'm going to talk about future work for the curriculum team and our teachers. And what we've done as a leadership team is look at a 3-year plan for the work that we want to prioritize. And so the first one, there are, I think, 5 of them for curriculum. Actually 4 big rocks that we will be focusing on. This first one, rigorous common expectations for learning, are explicit, transparent, measurable, and transferable. And so this is the proficiency work you might hear us referring to, and the end game, which I don't think we have mastery transcript in here as a goal for the next 3 years, but that's what we're working toward. A tool that communicates to students and parents what learning has happened and so that students can understand what they need to do in order to improve their learning. And those student-led conferences work in beautifully with the mastery transcript, which I am just beginning to learn and understand more about, because when a student can talk about their learning, they're empowered. Next slide, please, Christine. The second area is the core competencies will be operationalized. So it's a big fancy word just saying that we're actually putting the competencies in practice. These are our would you click again, please?
Yep,
it's just to remind folks, the core competencies are a portrait of a graduate: competencies, empathy, perseverance, integrity, communication, and critical thinking. And that work involves identifying skills, observable skills and attitudes and understandings that students have as they move through, from kindergarten to 12th grade in their development of these competencies.
Does that include a way of quantifying them in Power School?
Well, because Power School requires you to quantify them, it will have to.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
right, but.
In order to make the report work, you have to, with multiple data pieces.
Right, but it's,
You have to,
I think one of the struggles that in the past most schools have with SIS systems is that it's difficult to pull data across multiple years within a SIS gradebook. It's not impossible. I've seen one school district do it, but.
Were they using Power School?
No.
We have a plugin that pulls data for multiple years.
Yeah.
But it's not out of the box. We got the plugin.
Yeah. Okay.
The next slide, please. Multi-tiered system of supports will be embedded across the supervisory union with data practices as the driving force in decision making. This is well underway as we refine our process in the coming years. With data, next year the big tool that we're bringing to our teachers is EduClimber. Currently, EduClimber, which you've seen some of the reports that Brittany did in the past. It has been, our interventionists are using it. Some of our special educators are using it. Our MTSS coordinators are working with teachers, some teachers who are interested and ready to learn more at this point in the building. So it's a game changer actually for helping us visualize the data story. And it also has other ways of capturing information that we've never had before in terms of putting student plans inside of it, so that we can use that to look at the effectiveness of certain kinds of intervention, lengths of interventions, and those kinds of things. So in the coming years, our use of data should become more efficient and we should be able to say this caused this in terms of student outcomes.
And because it's from Renaissance, is it fairly well integrated with the STAR testing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And of course, they're making improvements all the time on that. So we also purchased 2 other products from Renaissance, Freckle and Lalilo, which are computer-based
learning systems for students that look at math and language arts. And Lalilo is for the primary kids for reading. And I'm looking at math. And so I have ELA in Freckle, and we are looking at math in Freckle. So next slide, please, Christine. So I wanted to plug, oh, wait a second, I'm ahead of myself. That we will utilize effective, intentional, and coordinated practices to measure continuous improvement. So this is the process that we are going to, the continuous improvement planning process isn't new, because I've come here and talked to the board about it before, but I would, as we become better at it, and it becomes more of a way of doing things, it's a really good process for looking at where you've been, where you want to go, and figuring out how to get there. So that's what this slide is about, using the continuous improvement plan process in a very intentional way. And then now I'm going to talk about continuous improvement planning, because we start next Thursday evening, 6 to 7:30, and there are 2 ways to participate. So if you would click the slide twice,
Yep.
and a third time. Full participation is that you will attend all meetings. They'll be virtual. Participate in the group discussions and read and provide feedback. Would you click through? Those are all bulleted to the team on the plan. And then you can also participate as a consultant, which would require you to review documents and provide feedback on the team about the plan. So we will have 4 meetings in May. I think hopefully that will be sufficient for us to produce a plan that we can bring to the board and get approval for in June.
Do you have enough?
Do we have an SU board meeting in June? Or is it going to be a retreat?
No, SU I think is in June. We have a meeting.
Okay. Because I have to submit it by June 30th.
Well, you're in luck. You're in luck.
So yeah.
That's usually when we do the sort of a bunch of hires and
Yes. Yep.
resignations.
Do you have enough participants?
So right now I just have 3 or 4 teachers and 1 parent. So if you're interested, please contact me via email. You can find out more information, and I will be putting out I'm going to ask the principals to put the link out, see who can hop on Thursday night. I know it's a tough time of year because athletics are happening, and 6 to 7:30 is right when it's happening. So I understand that. That's why the consultancy participation is an offering if you can spare some time. And it doesn't mean you have to do it every time. You can maybe read the first draft or the third draft or the final draft or something like that. So, thank you.
We do have June listed as our retreat for the SU board.
In the work plan?
I don't know if in the work plan, but it's on.
Yeah, if it's on the calendar, it's in the work plan.
I'm looking at the folder on the portal. It says retreat for 6/23.
I think we have a regular meeting in June. We had a retreat in August last year.
You did, yeah.
So that must be just a mistake from Lori. I've got, in the work plan, it says regular meeting. So I'll check with her on that.
Elizabeth?
Thanks, Bill. I was wondering, since we're coming up on 5 years since we did the Portrait of a Graduate process, have any of you given any thought to the life of that process? And like, how often do you do a new process like that? And because I can't imagine getting to the end of 5 years and then doing it again and coming up with a whole new set of outcomes that shift every 5 years. So I just wondered what your thoughts are about how long it is considered valid for that.
Yeah, that's a great question, Elizabeth. So I think earlier in the fall, I shared like a report card, and I had year one as 21, 22. We didn't count the pandemic years as progress because we really didn't make any, to be quite honest. And then year two as 22, 23, year three as 23, 24. So we have, if it's a 5-year plan, 2 years left. We've been working as a team to come up with a 3-year instructional work plan. So my hope is, and we're using the strategic plan goals to guide that work, that we don't sunset this plan until the end of those 3 years. So that would be 26, 27. And I would recommend during that last year of the plan that we are talking about what are we going to do? Review the plan, change the plan, bring in someone to help us create a new strategic plan. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. When I think about starting the Portrait of a Graduate in 2019, and of course finishing it in 2020 online, but we
Yeah.
started in 2019, and when I think about the 5 years before 2019 and the changes that occurred in that time that brought us to concluding those core competencies. I mean, it's hard to imagine doing a complete turnover of core competencies every 5 years.
I would agree.
But
Well,
also a lot can change in 5 years. And so I just love to continue having discussions over how that sort of translates outwards. And because I don't think it should be 10 years down the road, we decide, okay, time
Yeah.
to revisit this. But
Well, Elizabeth, I think, I brought this up in regards to the Ascutney School Board summer retreat, because when you look at the core competencies in the portrait of a graduate, there's a lot of work and it is a lot of work that goes
It is.
into creating the assessment pieces that go along with core competencies.
Yeah.
How do you actually take summative assessments of them? How do you report it out? And then how do you train students on what those assessments looks like? And so that process has just barely begun.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the
but-
state has finally gotten involved in that in some way. So thank you, Elizabeth. I think your voice was heard, but go ahead.
But I also think that this is a practice waffle, and that all of that stuff getting worked out this cycle, whatever the length of the cycle is, will be a lot smoother next time because we're inventing the wheel this time.
Right.
Hopefully no pandemic.
Agreed. Yeah. Right.
And as we do this, though, I don't necessarily envision that the portrait of a graduate is a cement pillar.
No, of course not.
I
But
don't-
also, actually, Christine, maybe when you have your secret meeting with the new Secretary of Education,
Yes.
because there are so many districts around our state, or supervisory unions, or whatever the configuration is. There are so many around the state that did use Portrait of a Graduate. It would be helpful for the Secretary of Education to know that that's been a guiding process for many of us.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it would be really great if the Agency of Education could, set that up for our district statewide, but not right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And the state has done their own portrait, right? They've done their own portrait of a graduate. Feels like, I don't know, a decade late. But anyway. Yeah, great questions. Thank you, Elizabeth. All right, Bill, we're turning it back over to you.
All right. Okay, so we're not going off the agenda. We're going off of what we added, correct?
You want to do the child tax credit first?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Sure thing.
there's no motion, but a situation has arisen, the state of Vermont has passed a new tax. And it is a payroll tax. And so, you know, the gist of this discussion is around some school districts are looking at it as an exact payroll tax that the employees pay. In some school districts, I think many around us, Christine?
Yeah, so the tax, it's not, you can't pass it all on to the employee.
Right,
You can, it's a 0.44% tax on wages. It goes into effect July 1. The employer can pass up to 0.11 to the employee, and the employer has to cover the rest. When I've just kind of pulled supervisory unions, the ones that I pulled, which is the Southeast region that I'm involved in, most have taken it, the employer has taken all of it on. So, but you get to decide that. And we'll have to do this at each of the local board meetings.
Right.
Next
Can we
month.
have numbers at our meetings with like how
much it
each
is?
district is gonna be?
I can get you a rough estimate of that,
Yeah.
yes.
Last I heard was all in 44,000.
Yeah, that's all 4 districts,
Approximately.
yes.
Approximately.
How much?
$44,000.
district-wide.
Divided by 4.
Right.
Right.
Out of the $25 million of entity money that's sloshing around.
So as an entire SU budget and including all the local budgets,
Yes.
it's not a significant amount, but it's something we need to decide upon.
And Bill, what is the tax
It is
about?
a
It's childcare tax.
child care tax, so all employees have to, all payrolls have to pay it.
And so where does that tax go to?
Childcare,
Yeah,
Increase in subsidy.
subsidized childcare in the state of Vermont,
But are they taxing everybody or
yes.
It's a
just the
payroll tax.
schools?
yes.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody, not just the schools.
Okay.
We just have an option, it sounds like, of how we apply it.
Yes,
I think the option is the same for everybody though.
you can,
Yes.
yes, it is the same for everybody.
So it's not an educational
No.
tax, it is a tax across the board. My preference, and I believe probably the budget preference would be that the decision would be unanimous. Would be simpler
Across all districts,
across all districts in the SU
that would be great.
to
To do the same
apply it the same, whatever
Each district
that
do
is.
this slightly different.
Tina will love that.
That's,
Deanna less so.
Yeah, Deanna less so. No, Tina won't love it either, but.
I mean, if it's different, then I'm sure the calculations can be done, but seeing, you're not deciding to pass the 44,000 or 45,000 on to the employees and pay it ourselves. You're trying to decide whether or not to pass 0.11 on to the employees or some lesser number or none at all. So,
Correct.
if you look at, that's about a quarter, so it would be
$10,000 to $15,000.
$10,000 to $15,000. Or do we just, or do the districts in the SU pay it all? As doing negotiations now, I think to assist in negotiations, having it equal across the district would be nice as well, because we're really trying to push, not equity, but equality
Yeah.
in our pay scales. And so we're also trying to get we're encouraging the different associations to merge. So that when we negotiate, it's not 3 groups negotiating with 3 groups, it's 1 group negotiating with 1 group. And there are some hiccups on that, but
Change is hard for people.
we've gone through it, so. Comments, ideas?
What are other schools, or what are other SUs doing?
The ones that I've heard from have paid it all. The employer has paid it.
And I get all the BizBit emails, which is all the other business managers around the state, and I would say 90% plus are eating it all. BSUs and school districts. An informal survey.
Well, it's not a huge amount. It's probably simpler,
Yes.
bookkeeping wise, to keep it separate. And probably cheaper in the long run because it's one less thing you have to worry about. But that's, I'm not a financial guy. I just play one on TV. Questions? For Larry? Christine? Okay. And let's get the new stuff out of the way. We have a request for a leave.
Bill, is that, you're gonna come back in next month to make a decision on that one?
Well,
We just need to know before July 1st that it goes into effect.
right.
Were we gonna leave here, decide with our boards individually and then come back? Was that the
I
plan?
think that would
Okay.
probably be better
Okay.
Yeah.
that
than
works.
to
Yep.
try to push the item because it is 4 different organizations who have to make that decision.
It may be more impactful if the decision is made at the SU level, right, before going, because there's a higher chance of discrepancy if the schools are all acting without some.
That's a possibility, but knowing the personalities of the 3 different boards, I'd like to get their input first, I guess.
Okay,
And
So tentative input,
not decisions.
like tentative input and
Yes.
then we'll, okay.
And then decide here and then vote it at our individual boards,
well, what do people think?
how much time do we have? Is there time to do
Yeah,
that?
so speaking of July 1 is the due date. We do payroll for
Paperwork,
July
yeah.
1 in late June,
Right.
right? So if it's the 4th Monday,
Yeah.
So we need to know before
I
that.
think before
So you
early
need- you need us
June
to
would be
just-
great because,
You know, to decide at the May meetings.
Yes.
yes, yes, that'd be another way to put it. I'd rather not wait until
Right.
June.
And then we'll come back to this meeting, May 27th, and make the final decision.
May 27th.
May 27th, yeah.
Well,
That would work for us.
It's just that if you want us all to have decided the same thing, that becomes difficult.
If you're doing it separately.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if there was a decision made at the SU level, it makes it a little easier to say, this is the decision at the SU level, does the school want to,
okay, well,
but just for
How
the
do-
sake of efficiency.
I have no problem taking a motion here.
It will help me.
I mean, I would make a motion to just pay the full payroll tax on behalf of the SU employees.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
And how does that work if one of the boards doesn't?
Then we,
Resend it and come back.
then we come back and we can change it, or we do things differently.
It can be done, it's just a lot more work.
Davis? You were looking as if you were to speak.
No, I think I'm the most interested in hearing the perspective of our Heartland and Weathersfield folks, because we have, the Manasquening School Board is entirely present on this board and we can sort of discuss it here, whereas you all have members who are not present here right now. So that I think is the differentiating factor, right, is that's, if you did want to have that full input before this, that's the advantage. But I also think that, to your point, if we decide here first, that provides direction going the other way, so.
I don't want to have a full discussion at my next meeting.
You don't? Okay. I personally feel that in the position that I'm in right now, in the middle of negotiations, I think it would be a good idea for the different districts to pay this tax. Okay. Anybody have discussions online? I will take a vote then. Mark? What we're voting on is that the SU board and the SU budget, the SU payroll will pay the child care tax
In full.
In full.
in full. How do you vote, Mark?
I vote aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Bill, I'm an aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye. Aye.
And Nikki is an aye.
Nikki's an aye.
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 I am an aye.
Aye.
Okay. So,
Thank you.
thank you, Hannah. That is really cute.
What is his name? Julian.
I have grandparent, I'm at a grandparent age, so I have children that are at that stage that, that's kind of what when I see babies, that's what I think of now. When I see pretty women, I think of, you know, all the single kids, the boys in my
In your
family.
family.
Okay,
Hi.
hi.
Okay, I'm passing around a letter. This is from Leota Tucker. She's one of our 3 school psychologists. She's requesting a leave of absence for the next school year. She's been employed, this is in her letter, she's been employed with the SU for 7 years. She's a rock star amazing. And she plans to be available for July 30th. She habitually has each year done evaluations for us over the summer. That's been part of her contract, which is super helpful. The reason for her leave is to be more available to support her 2 sons at this time. And I can elaborate on that, but probably not in open session. If people have other questions, permission to do so. And we talked about this. We did put up an anticipated ad just to let you know as well, to support this, just in case the board approves it.
So this is not a request for sabbatical.
No.
This is,
It is not.
which is different.
It is.
It's for the one school year.
It's for the 1 school year.
Yes.
How, okay, this doesn't impact my opinion on her request, but how hard is it gonna be to fill a position for 1 year? Like, is this gonna hurt us pretty bad, or you think we're gonna be okay?
I don't know.
Okay.
We-
Leota's amazing. I
Yes.
wanna keep her on staff, and if this is what it takes.
If we have positions to fill, and whether they're 1 year or more than 1 year, it's a tough market, so.
Yeah.
And we also can advertise, I was thinking about this today, and sometimes things pop into my head, and one of them was, we have done an educational diagnostician at sometimes, special educators, who can also do the testing, because we do have 2 other psychologists, so we can, I've got some creative ways to address it, if we need to go that route.
Cool.
Elizabeth?
Not knowing the nature of the reason for her leave, I wonder whether 1 year is going to be long enough for it, and whether she's going to want to come back after 1 year. Is there anybody who can speak to that?
I can say that Leota has planned for 1 year and is committed to coming back from my conversations with her. So without going into deep dive of the nature of it, that is her plan, and there's multiple aspects of why I believe that to be true.
Okay. I will take a motion to approve this leave.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay. Any discussion about this motion?
Yes, I've got a question. I'm sorry. It's so urgent that I didn't even put my hand up.
No, I just wanted to get the motion out there because we're basically gonna say yes or no. So we might as well get the motion, but now it is appropriate time for discussion, Elizabeth.
Is it paid or unpaid leave?
It's unpaid.
Okay, thanks.
you know, and Sarah,
So to confirm with what Katie said, so with the other two psychologists that we have, children that needed testing or the types of services that Leota provided, we would be in good shape down to two, or would this cause an immediate problem?
I said that we are advertising for an anticipated school psychologist to fill as a 1 year. I already put out an anticipated ad for that, and if we were unable to find someone in that capacity, I also could put out for a educational diagnostician. I still would want to find a third person.
Okay, great.
Yes, that would be our goal.
Okay.
Megan,
Is there any precedent? Have we done this before where we've been able to fill a position like this for just 1 year?
We've done it for teachers.
It's not super common, but it has happened.
Yeah.
Teachers also can take a sabbatical, which that is somewhat paid. And that's not what this is. The process to take a sabbatical is much more complicated. But the reality is, as this involves family, and that this is a employee that has been here for 7 years and is an employee, I believe, that we would like to come back.
Yes.
Okay.
Very much.
So I don't know if that answers your question, Megan, as much as it sort of gets my opinion out there.
No, I mean, it kind of does. I mean, I've worked with Leona, like, with my daughter. Like, I think she's great. I'm just thinking it sounds like what I'm hearing is this is a very important position and that it needs to be filled. So I was just wondering what that looks like if this has been done before. Like, what is, and I know someone else asked, like, what is the likelihood of it getting filled for just 1 year is what I was kind of like. I don't think anyone really knows that, but I just.
Well, this is type of, would you like to speak to this, or?
I'm as optimistic with this as I am with any of our other positions we're trying to fill. I don't think being 1 year shortens anything in the current climate we're in for hiring. I think that's, I hope that we can. I just,
If we can't, does the collaborative, Vermont Collaborative have options for those services?
Possibly.
Yeah.
These are also the type of services that we could contract out.
Yes.
It's not services that we want to contract out,
Right.
because that tends to be more expensive, but
We can if we have to.
we can if we have to. Right. Davis?
I mean, I guess my opinion on this is that, again, as somebody who's been here 7 years in good standing, who's doing impactful, positive, important work, I mean, I'd rather be seeing a request for a leave of absence than a resignation. So that to me is like, if it's a year and we have to try to find somebody, like, that's not ideal. But I think it's less ideal to lose somebody permanently and then be struggling to find somebody permanently. So, because it sounds like this is a situation where Leota needs to take that time and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's right.
Any other discussion? Okay, I will take a vote. All in favor of, and I'll go around, but I just want to phrase it we're voting to approve a leave of absence. Mark? Aye. Elizabeth?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Amy?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Nikki?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
I'm an aye. Davis?
Aye.
Okay, so it has been approved.
Thank you.
Okay. On to policy. B20, personal recruitment, selection, appointment, and background checks. Let me take a look at this real quick.
check the number one bill under number one appointment. That's the one we went back and
Yeah.
forth about.
Yeah, I've gone through this. We've asked for some changes. One of the big was under appointment number one, make it part of the policy that in the summer, instead of each year, the boards vote on giving the superintendent the ability to appoint. It is in the policy directly. And so the superintendent doesn't have the power, but the superintendent with consultant of the board chair will be able to appoint. So
I think that number 1 and number 7 are kind of the exact same thing. If they're not, they should be put together in one.
I think we're supposed to delete number
I
7.
think number 7 is supposed to come off.
Yeah,
Great.
number 7 is
Good.
supposed to come off.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the old language.
yeah, that's the old language. Yeah,
Good idea.
okay. Good, Nancy. Okay, any other discussion?
Is that legal to make the board chair the one person that can say?
Is it legal? Yes. Because the because in policy, it's giving the superintendent the power. Okay, it's not giving a single board member the power, it's giving the superintendent the permission, but in consulted with the board chair of the appropriate board. So.
I get it.
Yeah. So we don't have to go through every
Oh, I
last
know
school board
why.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
No, I know why.
Yeah.
It's the.
I meant to ask for a motion to approve this,
Oh,
and
sorry.
I forgot. We got into
Motion.
discussion already.
Second,
Second, okay. Any other discussion about this policy? Okay, we'll go around to a vote. Mark? Aye. Elizabeth?
Aye.
Megan?
Aye.
And Sarah?
Aye.
Okay. Amy?
I
Ann?
Aye.
Nikki?
Aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Nancy?
Aye.
I'm an aye.
I,
Okay, so this has passed. Be interesting to see how all the work you're doing with onboarding
Yeah,
kind of gels with this.
yeah, we actually dissected it
Yeah.
as a committee, so.
For those of you who are new, Christine and the whole committee has been working very hard on improving our onboarding processes. So,
And our hiring.
and hiring.
Yeah.
Which is part of that. Curriculum development and coordination. I will take a motion to approve this policy.
So moved.
second,
Okay? Discussion. There's not much to this. It's basically keeps us up to date with the Vermont law. Any other discussion? Okay. This is the third reading. We'll take Elizabeth.
Thanks. Oh, it got dark really fast out here. Sorry. I have a problem with this policy. And that is
I mean, I have a problem with the law, but
well, my problem is that is in the first sentence.
okay.
Because the Windsor Southeast Supervisory Union Board doesn't have anything to do with developing policy.
Curriculum.
We don't establish an SU or district-wide curriculum. we don't develop the curriculum ourselves, and we also don't assist member districts to develop it jointly. And I think it really is a very confusing message. And I object to it. Thanks. Either we do develop curriculum or we don't. But we can't have a statement saying we develop curriculum or have anything to do with curriculum when we don't. We don't even discuss curriculum. We just get informed about it after the curriculum's already been chosen and is in phases of implementation.
That's a good point.
Very good point.
Would it correct that issue to simply remove the word board from that initial sentence? Because then it's just WSESU will be responsible for establishing, and that functionally is what happens. Angie in the office does it. But I agree with you, Elizabeth. I think putting the board there, pointing specifically to us goes against what we have been stating our role in this process is the entire time I've been here.
And that kind of defines what's written below better, because the first paragraph is in conflict with the next two.
And should we take out district-wide? And
we don't have any supervisory union-wide curricula. We don't have, and also if we leave it without board, we should be specific about who is responsible for it. Because ultimately we are responsible for it. It falls on us if it just says supervisory union.
So, Christine, tell me if I'm wrong, but the intention of the law was to centralize curriculum development oversight to the supervisory union.
Correct.
Along with, which of course that entails funding as well.
Yep.
That's
how I understand it.
Right.
Coordinated curriculum across the supervisory union.
Right. And
I mean, isn't this the policy that we struggled with last year? When we had curriculum to bring to the board. And this was the policy that,
no, based on what the idea of this is what we struggled with, not this policy in particular. But I mean, to Elizabeth's point, and it's a valid point.
It is.
As a board, as most boards, that the board is not a curriculum expert.
Right.
Some members of the board have more knowledge of curriculum development than others, but still, this is not we are not made up of curriculum experts.
Maybe we should change the word establishing to approving, although I don't even know if we do that.
Davis.
So I think
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
I think the issue here too is that one statement that's in that policy that we're looking at, I mean, it directly comes from 16 VSA section 261A. I mean, that's duties of supervisory union board, duties of the board of each supervisory union shall, one, establish a supervisory union-wide curriculum by either it's developing the curriculum or assisting member districts to develop it jointly. So I mean, that language is directly coming from a Vermont statute.
Right.
Are we not doing our jobs?
Well, and I think and this is where, I mean, I'm not a lawyer or a legislator, so Elizabeth, you might have more insight to this than I do. I don't know how, if we're changing the language at the local policy level, are we moving away from compliance somehow, or like
with the law
being in line with the statute? And I guess my other question about that is that, like, you know, I guess a frame of reference is select boards. Like, there's a lot of things that it says the select board does, but you know, because of the kind of organization that it is actually the town manager that does that, because that's delegated responsibility. So in this policy, when it says the board, but we know that the
We
board has
delegated it
delegated
to-
that responsibility to someone else, do we then need to keep the board language and highlight the delegation in the policy, or does it not need to be there because that's something that, like, in other policies, it's outlined? I guess is my observation / question.
We need a lawyer.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of stuff, so now that I've looked at this, I don't think we should change that particular statement at one, but maybe we wanna add some clarifying language
Down below.
state down below that says, you know, the board also delegates to, you know,
To the
people.
superintendent
To the
and the
superintendent,
curriculum
yeah.
director.
No,
Yeah.
I think the important portion, especially for the board, is the number 2, superintendent shall, is in keeping the board appraised of the curriculum.
So, yeah.
Amy?
So I know, I remember several years ago that there were several meetings of the supervisory union board when when it was brought under the SU umbrella. And there was a math curriculum that was adopted. There was an ELA curriculum that was adopted. It brought considerable angst to probably every single school district, but we worked through it. It was one of the first, when like Act 153 and Act 156, when transportation and curriculum and purchasing, when all of those were brought under the umbrella of the supervisory union. So if each of our districts within our supervisory union are no longer following the same curriculum, then that is kind of going against the tide of wanting us to be developing the educational opportunities for all of our students. And we do have a curriculum coordinator who works at the SU level. So it is the supervisory union who is responsible for developing curricula and implementing it throughout the schools in our district.
And I think that's the intent of the statute as well. As David's pointed out, we don't, as a board, create the curriculum, but we are responsible for its establishment.
Yeah, the authority comes from us.
Yes.
But we don't necessarily directly do that task.
May I follow up on what Amy just said?
Absolutely, Elizabeth.
I joined the supervisory union board like 2 meetings before that happened. And I was really, really excited because I thought, oh, we have an SU-wide curriculum. If we have an SU-wide curriculum and the curriculum goes K through 12, why would any district send their students outside of our district? This is going to bring all of the other schools into Windsor because then they'll have a complete curriculum path. It wouldn't make any, or it made no sense to me why anybody would send their kid to a school that didn't follow through with the very same curriculum. And I remember thinking that and being really excited about it when that occurred. And that was when Carl was the curriculum director. I think it was right after he was hired, and or coordinator. I can't remember what his title was, but he brought in curricula for us to look at. And before any decisions were made, that's why it has confused me ever since, because before any decisions were made, we got to hear about what the choices were, what all of the options were that were being considered. Even though we didn't choose a curriculum, we got to know what we were part of the process, and because we were responsible for it. And that's why I've never really truly understood the other narrative of the board not having anything to do with curriculum since then. Because my very first experience was that. Thanks.
I think one of the, and anyone here can disagree with me because I may not be correct. This is my 30th year in education, and one of the most frustrating things as an educator and an educational professional is curriculum development. It is, in my 30 years, we've been trying to go from point A to point B for that entire 30 years, and we're not there yet. And you would think in 30 years you could accomplish it, but in my 30 years, it's been let's go from, content-based to a core of proficiencies to make sure students have the skills they need, not just the knowledge that we think they need. And I am confident that in the next 30 years, as much progress will be made, and we won't be there yet. So I empathize with everyone's frustration, but it is nothing that I know of moves slower than educational transition. It's amazing how quickly tax laws can change in comparison, but changing the education system and what people think education should be is monumentally slow and requires generational effort. Are there any other comments? Okay, I am going to call it a vote here. And if it's voted down, then we will work on it some more. But I do not feel that going against what the state has tasked us with will be anything that is going to make a difference. So, all right, or nay, Mark.
Aye.
Elizabeth?
No.
Megan?
No.
Sarah?
No.
Amy?
Aye.
Ann?
No.
Nikki?
Aye.
Nancy?
Aye.
I am an aye. Davis?
Aye.
You left out Hannah.
Hannah, I'm sorry.
That's fine, I know we look too young to vote, but.
Well, you were completely behind the baby, so you weren't there for me at all. You were invisible.
Aye.
Okay. Did you get a count?
I think I did.
Okay.
7 yes, 4 no. Is that right? What you got?
1, 2, 3,
4 no's.
4.
Okay, 4 no's.
Yeah.
I started calculating after the vote had started.
There were 4 no's.
4 no's. So that's a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Are we missing one person?
Yes, Beth isn't here.
Okay.
10,
There are
11,
11.
yeah, 4 and
Okay.
7.
Okay, thank you.
So does that mean that the supervisory union is now responsible for being part of the curriculum development or not?
Yes, it does mean that. So what we just voted on is, it doesn't mean we weren't responsible for it before, because that's part of the state statute. And as policy, we can't go against state statute. And so that this means by policy that the Southeast Supervisory Union Board is responsible for establishing a supervisory-wide, district-wide curriculum.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. C80 OE local wellness policy. This is only the second reading. Any comments, discussion? I think one thing that came up in the first reading, and I don't know if we've done it yet, we wanted to take a quick look at, I know I haven't done it, and so I apologize, because I know you brought this up, that there was work in the past done. And how does this dovetail into that work?
I think somebody did mention that a lot of it's covered in here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The previous work that was done.
Is there a current wellness policy?
There,
Or is there's a,
there is a policy, yeah, until this
Okay.
one is passed, yes.
okay. Look at it.
We passed it recently too, didn't we?
Prior to COVID,
Yeah, it was when I started here
Yeah.
because I was actually, I forget, did I work with you, Nikki, on it?
Yeah,
I think you and I worked on it.
I remember you working on it. I
Yeah.
don't remember
Yeah,
myself
I
working
don't,
on it.
I don't really think it's titled a local wellness policy, but there is a nutritional,
Yeah, it was very similar to this.
yeah.
there
Yeah,
is.
I remember
It's
reading
similar.
something like this prior to last month.
Do we have a number on that? It can't be C80 again. Megan?
It might be.
One of the first times we read this, and I think it came back another, like in a different, but my question is around the refreshments served at student parties, celebrations, and meetings. So is this saying that parent supplied snacks have to follow this too?
What page is that, Megan?
It's letter C under, so it's letter B, and then under that it's letter C. Or excuse me, sorry, it's letter C under, and then C under that. I don't have it printed. It's just on my phone.
I think yes, but that the idea being that, sorry, I worked with some of the folks writing this or joined a meeting to talk about it. The idea was that there would sort of be occasional exemptions to create a little bit of wiggle room, but to ideally create a policy that encouraged all food brought to campus, whether it be provided by food services or families, to encourage all of that food to be within certain nutritional guidelines.
And if I can chime in, I think that's in D specifically, where it says
Right,
occasional
exactly.
partings, meetings, so it's shifting the standard towards healthier options and
Yes.
allowing for exceptions
Yes.
for unhealthy rather than having the standard just be kind of like the,
And I remember, Davis, that during our last reading, I remember you bringing up that point that at some point, there has to be sort of the ability to kind of allow, not punish a kid for bringing in cupcakes. But
Yeah, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, and it's, I think that that's in there too.
Yes.
I mean, and if, you know, I think even just a nudge of encouragement towards like something else, so
Yes.
not the worst.
Okay, I will try to make a note to myself to go through the policies and read them myself, but I think a lot of hard work went into this. Good policy. Okay, procurement policy. Or was that? Was that one?
That's the one.
Yes, okay.
She hasn't taken out the old readings. I'll have her do that on the top
Okay.
of it.
This is the one where there's just like change.
Yeah, the only
Where's that?
changes are, it's exactly the same, except when you get to methods of procurement.
Under A, yeah.
Okay, it's changed from 10 to 40,000, and then procurement by sealed bids went from 150 to 200,000. Everything else is the same.
Do we have a timeline on this?
When you need it by?
Yeah.
Sooner the better.
Okay. Well, this is the first reading, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rush it.
No.
So,
It's okay.
okay. Okay. We do have a setting of the next agenda.
Okay, so I've got, somewhere in there, decide on the budget committee members for the SU.
Yeah.
My report, we've got Tracy's report, operationalizing diversity, equity, inclusion, and Larry's got his FBI report, next month. And then for policies, so we'll come back with
Yeah, it's like
procurement and local wellness.
And hear from the three boards regarding the tax.
And the tax, yes, thank you for reminding me, yeah.
Elizabeth?
Can we, forgive me for not having my camera on at the moment. Can we add a brief discussion, an introductory discussion of cooperation, the BOSIS bill, which I think is getting passed, which is shared expenses across supervisory unions, and also as such, so that should help bring down some of our SU expenses, and also as such, kind of introductory discussion of considering merging partners, supervisory union merging partners. We had talked about it before.
Might that be better for a retreat though, or do you want to have a brief discussion on it first and then possibly move into a larger discussion on it during the retreat?
We can't discuss it during the retreat.
We can't act upon it during the retreat.
Oh, okay. I think it would be smart to have a preliminary discussion over it so that at the retreat we can talk about what potential partners there are, but we haven't even talked about whether we agree in principle that it's a good idea.
No, I agree with you. That would make complete sense. Sort of, instead of going into it cold during a retreat, sort of touch base to allow us time to process it. So yes, I think that's a great idea, Elizabeth.
Thanks. But also,
So-
Christine, are you familiar with the BOSIS thing that they do in New York State? I can't
I've been
remember what
hearing
that
about
acronym
it.
stands for.
Yeah, I've been
Talking about
hearing about it
BOCES?
and reading about it, yes, yeah. But not, yes, you're probably way more familiar than I am, Elizabeth.
Yeah,
so maybe we
I
talk.
can send you information about it. I believe it was signed into law, so
Okay, that would be great.
I'll send you information about it.
That's
Okay.
related to special ed, right? WSESU.
That's, yeah,
VCSEA has been discussing London, so that's
It's about sharing kind of ancillary expenses across supervisory unions. And I think we've got some good partners, potential partners for, we don't have to team up with one supervisory union across the board per se. But there might be services that we could share and whatnot.
Okay.
so we'll put that under items for discussion.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
Executive session.
Yes, I will take a motion to go into executive session under VSA 313,
Contracts.
contracts.
So moved.
Second.
Just do it for us.
Yeah, it's fine.
All in favor of going into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All opposed?
Okay, let me stop recording.
Three toes.
I will take a motion to end this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of
Aye.
ending this meeting, say aye.
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 Bye.
Let's see what Larry wants.
Yeah.